So unless you've been living under a rock, or maybe you just really do not care at all about Xbox, you've probably heard that there was some big changes recently. If somehow you still haven't heard, the CEO of Microsoft Gaming, or essentially Xbox, PhilSpencer, has stepped down, retired, was forced out. Definitely feel free to speculate all you want in the comments. So along with Phil leaving the company, we also have Sarah Bond, who was the president of Xbox and seemed to be Spencer's next in line choice for his position. Well, she was passed over for the promotion, and instead she ended up stepping down as well. So with both Phil and Sarah leaving the company, it looks like Asha Sharma is now the CEO of Microsoft Gaming. And all this seems pretty controversial considering she was previously an AI executive at Microsoft. So hello and welcome back to the Eyes of O Gaming channel. This is another one of these unscripted, just me talking about something that I've been seeing posted in the feeds about gaming lately. I just wanted to share my thoughts, upload something, and see where you guys were at as well on this. I'd like to hear your thoughts on what's going on. So anyway, with someone coming over from an AI background into the main leadership role at Microsoft Gaming, it really does make you think that there's going to be some pivot towards AI in Xbox, in gaming. I don't think it's really controversial to say that. It seems pretty obvious that's where they're going. Now, I can see a couple of positive uses of AI in gaming. There's a lot of negatives, don't worry, I'll talk about that as well, or my thoughts on that. As far as positives, really the only good thing that I can see, and this is pretty limited in scope, but I could see some things like, say, an LLM being used in an Elder Scrolls game. So when you go into a tavern, say, you go and talk to a patron, instead of it just being a scripted NPC with only a few lines of dialogue, you could instead have a totally free-form conversation with that NPC. They could train some kind of an AI on the world that the NPC is living in. Unfortunately, though, you'd need a bunch of different things running or a bunch of different guardrails. Not every NPC is going to know everything, right? So they're only going to be able to stick to what they would know. Also, with players just being able to say whatever they want to these NPCs, I could see things going totally off the rails very quickly. I guess it would put more responsibility on the player. If you want to have a more lore-friendly experience, you'd have to kind of change how you communicate with the NPCs. I don't know, I kind of see some limited positive application, but there's very quickly it could devolve into something really not what players want. That being said, I think that the majority of the use cases and what they'd be prioritizing AI for at Microsoft Gaming is not at all going to be what I would like to see it used for. Based on how Microsoft is trying to shove Copilot down everyone's throat, I'm expecting that they're probably going to want to try putting AI into the next console that comes out. I don't know, some kind of AI console assistant or something to that effect. I just really can't see this as being a positive thing. It might be done to introduce some level of convenience, I guess, but in the end, I think it would just bog things down and it just feels really unnecessary and unneeded. Obviously, I'm just purely speculating on something that's not even been announced yet, so who knows, it might not actually come to be, but that's just my best guess as to what they would use it for. The other thing that I'm really not on board with is I could see a lot more AI being used for generation of assets, generation of code in games even. I have worked a little bit with this stuff. I don't want to go too deep into my personal life outside of this, but I do have some background in coding and that kind of thing. And just the spaghetti code that AI spits out, I'm really not impressed at this point. With how poorly optimized games are, even at this level, I can only imagine what we'll see in the future as they start introducing some AI into the development of games. She has pushed back, I guess, and she said that she doesn't want to just be known as the person bringing AI into gaming. So specifically, she gave a couple quotes. One is she does not want to chase short-term efficiency or flood our ecosystem with soulless AI slop. Which, yeah, that's a positive statement. But then she goes on to say AI has long been part of gaming and will continue to be. Now, obviously to a point that's correct, but that's also a bit of a worrying statement, I would say. I don't know, I just don't want to see them start replacing actual humans with AI in gaming. I mean, for things like generation of assets, writing storylines. You can see in a lot of media now that they're obviously using AI to help them write storylines, and it's showing. Or if they're not using AI directly, AI is having some kind of an influence on the minds of the people who are writing these storylines. I don't know, I could be totally off base here, but it feels like a lot of, or at least some dialogue in games, movies, TV shows, it definitely has that AI sound to it. And on YouTube, for instance, my feeds are just full of AI channels. Like channels where the video is generated by AI, or the speaking is all done by AI, or even the scripts you can tell are written by AI. Or some combination, maybe all three at the same time. Maybe the whole video is just an AI video. And yeah, it does. It just feels like slop. It all feels like slop. I like things that are niche. I like things that are unique. I like things that, they're not going to appeal to everyone, but to the people that they do appeal to, they appeal to them a lot. I personally think it's better to have more choice and more options for a larger number of people rather than games, media, whatever, trying to appeal and be the thing for everyone. But yeah, like I said, I can see a limited use of AI being potentially useful or potentially a positive, but overall I think it's probably a negative. But maybe I'm wrong. Please let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Maybe you can see some other positives that I haven't mentioned and you can change my mind on it. Or maybe you're even more doom and gloom than I am and just think it's all terrible. Or who knows, maybe this is all just media hype and she has no intention of bringing AI at all into this. Or at least not to the extent that it's been implied. Regardless, thank you so much for taking the time to watch today. If you're new here, my channel is more of a review and retrospective channel. So if you have any interest in those, definitely check out the channel. Hopefully there's something of interest for you there. If you enjoyed this video today, please give it a like. And if you think I earned your subscription, I do really appreciate if you hit that button. It really does help the channel out a ton, but most importantly, thank you so much for watching today, and until next time, take care.